Welcome to Sunburnt Souls. On this show, we speak about life and faith and our mental well-being. And I'm super excited because about 2 years ago, I met T.I. Lowe or Tonya Lowe, and we've kept in touch. And she's written a new book, and I am so blessed to just have you on the show, Tonya. I just love your company. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me back.
We've been reading your writing and we watching your interviews and
Mhm.
stuff. And so other people know about you more than you know about them. Is that strange? Like, what's that feel like?
It is, but I try my best to actually get to know people. So when people reach out to me, I try to keep in touch with them too because I sent out this post this week actually about how this writing journey, the best part of it is all the friends I've made.
Yeah.
And before then, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was kind of like in my little sheltered bubble, and I had my friend group, but that was it. But I have
Yeah.
met such extraordinary people. I'm talking to you, and you're in Australia, and here I am in this tiny town in South Carolina, United States. So it's been an amazing journey to get to know
Oh,
people.
it's cool. I love that. That must be very exciting because you do a lot of interviews and I see you online a lot, lots of book reviews. You're with Tyndale, so they're like massive.
Hmm.
So they're pushing you out there and everything as well. And you're in a fun season where your children are off to college now.
Yeah, I've got a good bit of freedom now. Funny enough, I look back. So I've been doing this for 12 years now. And my first uh, book event where I was supposed to speak, I bombed. I
Really?
totally bombed. Yeah, I was terrible. And the ladies that owned the bookstore, she kind of kept helping me out and kept talking because I was like, and so she went with, we became really good friends, the bookstore owner. And so probably 2 years ago, she went to another book event with me. And on the way home, she said, "You have come such a long way." But I had learned, see, because I was trying to be very professional and very, I thought I had to look like a very professional author. But come to find out, that's not what people need. They just
Mm,
need to chat and have a friend. So I'm like, if I stutter, if I,
mm.
my southern voice slurs a word or one, it's fine. We're just going to have a conversation, and I might, make a silly comment along the way. But I think that that worked for me when I finally figured out that I could just be myself, and I didn't have to put on this air of being some, a
Mm.
fancy author because that is not what I am. It just all clicked into place. And so it's pretty fun now. It was
Yeah.
not fun in the beginning, but I think, no matter what we do, and I bet you do the same thing with your ministry, you've learned that you need to talk to people and not talk at them,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. That's why I think we've connected, Tonya, is because I feel the same way about how we do faith as well. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be polished. It just has
Yeah.
to be it's got to be real. And when you last came on this show, I got a bunch of my friends from my life group to read the book, and all of them loved
Well,
it
thank you.
because it was real. They're like, oh, that
Mhm.
was gritty. That was real. It wasn't what they were expecting from your typical Christian author. Like, you're not afraid to go into places of death and you know, despair and addiction and brokenness. And I don't know if it's the same over there, but I feel people are hungry for that. Like, everyone's a bit tired
Yes.
of talking about
Hmm.
the weather. Let's get into the real stuff.
Yeah. And early on when I was as a reader reading Christian fiction, and there's nothing against it if that's what you enjoy, but it was just so polished and
Yeah.
so everything was perfect, and I'm like, this is not my life. I can't
Mm,
relate to this story. And but I thought that's what Christian fiction was supposed to be. I'm like, I don't know that I could write in that genre. But then, Dave, you read the Bible and it is gritty. It is
yeah.
broken people. It's people struggling with, sin or addiction, or, even Paul talking about the thorn in his side. I'm like, if the Bible can do it, why aren't we as Christians doing it? Because I can relate to those people, those broken people in the Bible, but I can't relate to, this woman that won't even think twice about, she had a very perfect, polished Christian, so to speak, life in a Christian fiction novel. So, and I will always give props to Francine Rivers. She
Yeah.
showed me in her writing that you can be gritty and you can show, grit with grace for faith. And so that's where I try to lean that way because I can relate to it too.
Yeah. I love that you two are friends because you're both producing such amazing
Well, thank you.
stories. The latest book, it's got some themes that are really close to home for me. And so, like,
Hmm.
we got to make sure we don't give spoilers because I want everyone out there to read this book, south of
Oh, well,
somewhere.
thank
They
you.
need to read it. So we'll do our best not to give spoilers. But one of the mega themes, and I don't think I'm giving anything away, is really around addiction and the cost of addiction and the process to get out of addiction. And you get into it.
The foundation from that for that book was my family has gone through that with loved ones. My grandfather was an alcoholic, so I've seen it all throughout my life. And then I had a loved one die of a drug overdose 3 years ago,
Oh,
and it rocked me because it and this person, and I try to. It's not my story to tell. I
yeah.
just try to tell my side of a story. So I say this person or whatnot, but if you read the book, I'm side of the story. I'm the sibling, I'm the loved one, I'm the family member that does not understand why the other person won't get clean. So I really wanted it was the whole grief. This was me grieving this book. It was my
Yeah.
process of trying to wrap my mind around why I couldn't fix that loved one. And so I dove into the research of drug addiction, and I would love to talk to you about like America versus Australia. But over here, there was a study done in 2023, and it said 1 in 4 children will have a parent or guardian at home that's battling addiction.
Oh,
One
wow.
in four. So there's so many families that are touched by this, and even if you don't personally have a struggle with addiction, odds are you know someone that does. So I really wanted to start the conversation, open the conversation up through, and it's amazing that fiction can do that.
Yeah. I I think fiction is such an underrated gospel ministry where people don't quite
Mhm.
understand that they're understanding how Jesus loves and they're understanding how Jesus lays down his life and shows forgiveness
Mhm.
and all of those things, but in a way that just speaks to their heart because it is story. And we remember story. Jesus was the best at
Yeah,
stories.
he was the best storyteller with his
Yeah.
parables. Yeah, and you could relate, you could understand. I loved it that he knew that we could, as people, as humans, we could really grasp what he was trying to tell us through a parable. And it's just like you said, fiction can do the same thing.
Mm,
Like someone will pick up, south of somewhere as it's a southern fiction. It's set on a coastal town in South Carolina, and pick it up for entertainment, but walk away with so much more than just an entertaining story.
yeah.
And that, to me, that's all God. That they can find him in the pages, even though they weren't looking for him.
Yeah, and all the characters kind of like represent a different aspect of things we might struggle with, or you meant.
Hmm.
I feel bad saying this now, but you said you resonate a bit with Cy. He was the one I
Hmm.
found a little hard to like in the early days. So that's not
Hmm.
personal about you in any way.
You can't like them all.
Yeah, and it wasn't that I didn't like him. It was just like I felt because I'm probably more the junior than the Cy in the story, and so
Yeah.
I would have at that point be like, "Come on, man."
But just with even with Psy, I wanted you not to like him completely. I wanted people not to really like Junie completely. But
Mm,
and that's the thing. You meet someone face value, and they might not give you the best first impression, or you be like, like, oh, he's so hard on his sister. He's so judgmental. But then as the story unfolds, you understand why he's the way he is. And then
yeah,
Junie, the choices she makes. She's a young woman in this book. She's what, 26, and I wanted the reader to see her growth, her maturity as the book went along too.
yeah, and you see it. I'd like a happy ending. Once again, can't say it,
Oh yeah,
but
me too.
I do. And I thought the way you brought that around was genius and very unassuming. It was like it snuck up on me. I was like, oh yes, But there were some other really good characters like Gilbert, the AA guy. He was
Hmm.
cool.
Hmm.
He represented what I think a lot of men in addiction need. So we run an AA group at our church, and there's a guy who
Uh-huh.
reminded me of Gilbert. He was an older guy, super fit, did it on his own volition, paid his own way. There's no money changing
Hmm.
hands in AA or NA or anything. And
Yeah.
and I don't know, I just really respected him. Tonya, with all of this, I suppose, how is it difficult not to make these characters your people? So you mentioned you resonate a bit with Sai. Is it hard not to do the thing where you make them your personification, or
Hmm.
Fern reminds you of your neighbor's daughter, or you know what I mean? Is that hard?
Yeah. Um, no, because and then there's, in the author world, um there's this, it's just the truth to the matter is every book has a little bit of the author in it. It'll always be a part of me some way, somehow. Even if whatever the book theme is not my struggle, I tend to put me in it. I mean, just a piece of me somehow.
Yeah.
But I really try my best to step back from the characters. I don't, and I always try to, like Junie, I want to represent, whether it's alcohol or pills or street drugs, whatever it is. I hope I've put enough of everybody in Junie that it feels like, if an alcoholic picks up the book and they said, oh, that's me, I'm Junie, or
Mm.
someone battling pill addiction, that's me, I'm Junie. And then when it comes to Cy, the sibling or the family member trying to, figure out the balance of, because, and I think, for the families that I have personally know, and then my family, there's this balancing act of, are you an enabler or you're helping?
Mm.
So it's hard. Like, do you tough love them? Do you just love them where they're at? And after losing this has become my saying since losing that loved one. You can not agree with their lifestyle. You can not agree with what they're doing, but you can still love them where they're at.
Yeah.
And so I really try to focus on that. Um, but yeah, I just really, and I pour a lot of time into research. I read several autobiographies. There's this, have you heard the band Corn?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the lead guitarist was a drug addict, and he's Brian.
Brian Head Welsh.
Oh, yes. Have you read his books, his memoir?
I have
Because he was a
actually.
drug addict and has
Yeah.
turned. You have?
Yeah, and he's turned it around. My son and I are both obsessed with Corn. It was actually
Yeah.
my first concert when I was 15. Scared me half to
Oh
death.
yeah.
That was when they were all still
I
wild.
bet.
But
Yeah, because I've seen some of their concerts on TV
it's wild. So
back
yeah,
in the
but
day.
my son and I are both into the autobiographies and watching his stuff. And lately, he's been leading a bit of
Yeah.
worship in churches as well, which is cool.
Oh wow. Yeah. He has really turned his life around, and
Yeah.
given his life to Jesus. And I was so inspired by reading his story. And then there's some others that I read. So I feel like I did the research that way.
Mm,
So when I came to create Junie, I put a lot of people into it. So
yeah.
I can step back from my characters and let them be who they need to be
Yeah.
without me,
Yeah, that makes
if that
sense.
makes sense.
Yeah, well, it does because she was very multifaceted. Did you have to protect
Mhm.
your own heart a bit when you were writing because of that loved one? Like, were there times where you had to step away for a day or two and just breathe before going back to it?
Oh yeah. I found that a lot in a lot of my writing. I think you and I talked about it. Under the Magnolias was a heavy story for me to write.
Yeah,
Um, and it was because, and I left it in the air. The father was battling bipolar disorder, but trying to hide it. So he wasn't getting the help he needed.
yeah.
And so his family they were always scared for, was he going to commit suicide or, take his life. And I didn't answer that for myself until the end of the book, because I felt like if that tension would come through if I didn't know as the writer where it was going to go.
Mm,
And those were really heavy writing days. But how I have learned to balance that is, those are the days that I step back and I'll pick a humorous scene to write. So I do try to incorporate humor along
mm.
the way. It kind of helps me get through it. And I did that with the help of Henry and the Magnolia Necklace Society.
Yeah, yeah. Th
because I don't know about you, but life's heavy. You got to laugh,
You
and
have
that's
to.
how I help.
Those
Hmm
guys were lunatics, man. I liked it, eh? Yeah, Henry was cool. Oh man. Did is Sullivan's Island, is it actually the same
Yes.
one as on South
hmm
Carolina? Because I got on there today on Google Maps and had a little look
Yeah.
around. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
All those
It is
two-story
beautiful.
Hampton looking houses and stuff.
Oh,
It's
it's
cool.
fancy.
Is that's the one?
hmm
That is
It's
cool.
very fancy. Yes. I typically make up my towns just so I can have the creative license to just do whatever. But I made it hard on myself this time. I did an actual place. But that even had a significance because I wanted to show Sullivan's Island is a very private community. Um, High dollar, multi-million dollar homes. It's a very well-to-do community.
Okay.
And I did that because there's so many stereotypes connected to addiction. Like you have to be low on your
Mm,
luck, you have to be in the poverty. That's not it.
yeah.
It's just like cancer, mental illness, and addiction falls there to me too. They don't care who they
Yes.
victimize. There's no prejudice on it. And so you can either be from the wealthy community or even the poverty community. And it could take one drink and you're facing a battle you never thought you would see coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I picked Sullivan's Island.
I think that's so genius because there's a lot of judgment around addiction where I
Hmm
mean that something that's breaking here in Australia, which is cool, is that it's not as much now that that person's a loser making bad decisions. It's more like they've got a mental health condition and they're trying to mask a pain that they have
hmm
and they're trying to get through like the rest of us, and that's just the way they do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, is that a similar sort of vein that you were landing with some of the addiction stuff?
I think so. And even with the AA groups, she attends two on a regular
Mm,
basis in the book. And she does online. But even those, that although they were from so many different walks of life, but they had the commonality of they had struggles too. So I was very purposeful about making sure I represented a lot of walks of life. And I wanted to represent the different types of AA groups because it's just like you said, it's not people don't do it to make, they're not getting paid to do
mm,
it. And so I looked at the guidelines for AA and it was you need a coffee pot and people that want to support each other in their sobriety, and that's it.
yeah,
So I'm like, well, I can make. How about I need my own group. So I did the Southern group, and but then I did the church group because I wanted to represent that too.
yeah.
That there are different groups, and and one size don't fit all.
Mm.
Just find. So I hope that would give people the insight and the encouragement they need to like. Okay, well, if this group's not for me, maybe I'll look around and find another group.
Mm. I think it was cool how you handled the church group because a lot of people might cast shade on the geeky old lady making
Hmm
tea, but that's so valid. There's so many people in
hmm
addiction who just want a grandma. They want someone to come around
Yeah.
them and hug them and be there for them and
hmm
have the normal conversations about flowers. You know what I mean? Like not everyone has to be a
Yeah.
reformed drug addict kind of badass to make it work.
And and I wanted to represent that because that was that lady's ministry to love on those people that were going through that. And also Junie judged her in the beginning. She's like, why is this woman? She's not having struggles with addiction. What is she doing here? And how quick it is. You don't want to be judged, but yet you can turn around and judge
Yeah.
someone else. And I that was one of the things that we went through with my loved one. Oh gosh, so many times. She said, "Well, you're the goody two shoes.
Yeah.
You don't know what I'm going through. Your life is perfect." And then I felt the need that I had to sit there and like, well, no, it's not perfect. Here's what I'm struggling with, and
Yeah.
here's my mistakes. But because I was always trying to bring myself not down to her level, but on a level where she, saw that I had struggles too. My struggles just didn't look like hers, but it never clicked. She was always just like, "Well, you don't know what I'm going through. You don't know why.
Mm.
You're just so perfect, and you're judging me." So Junie had a lot of jobs to do in this book. There was a lot of jobs to cover because I wanted her. I wanted her to judge where she didn't need to judge. I wanted her to make those, learn those lessons too.
Yeah. I feel like I can picture it. You know how you get to, so I feel like I know it now.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what I mean? And I was
Yeah.
so glad that it worked out because you're rooting for them. And then at the same
Oh
time,
yeah.
the way you write though is so cheeky because she might not have made it. Like it was really like she could end up. I mean, this is T.I. Lowe. She could end up dead. Like we don't know what she's gonna do. Like,
Who knows what I'm going to end up doing, right? But I did, it was another thing because it's the way I write. I don't write it all. I don't outline it before I've got a general idea where I want it to go, but I didn't know if she was going to slip up and take a drink or slip up and take a pill. I wanted that to be something that I was wrestling with or wondering away the whole time I was writing too, because I feel
yeah,
like that kind of, if I write it in that sense, then it translates over for the reader is like reading too. Like, is she going to slip up? And I don't feel like I could do this topic justice without her having those temptations because the statistics are so high for relapse. I think I should have me a cheat sheet that I always have when I'm doing these talks with the statistics on it. But I think it's 70% of everyone that goes to rehab will relapse within 30 days.
yeah,
I mean, that's very significant,
yeah. That's
high
huge.
relapse rate. And so I just try to keep it real with that too.
Yeah, yeah. Because you never know the temptations. What was the senator's son again? I forget his name. Starts with D.
Deaton,
Yeah, Deaton. That's right. I was going to say
Deaton.
Dieter. Deaton. He was such a good antagonist. Sorry, just where
Hmm.
he'd just be
Hmm.
there at the wrong time all the time. And the
Hmm.
lady who voiced the audiobook did his voice really quite well, actually. He
Oh, did
reminded me
she?
of a kid I know. But like, he was always there when the temptation is, the worst thing you need. There he pops up.
Uh, he had a big job to do in the story too, because a lot of time, if you are battling addiction, you have those friends,
Yeah,
toxic friends that are leading you astray. And so he had a big job to do
yeah,
in that category too.
yeah, yeah. He was good. I liked him. I liked where he ended up as well, but I liked him. And the whole, I don't know, can I just say thank you from the Christian community? Not that I represent all of us, obviously, for going there with these topics. Like with
Well,
Under
thank
the
you.
Magnolias, we went there with bipolar. I got drawn to that because I'm a Pastor Dave with bipolar, like he was, and like I feel like there's a lot of people out there resonating with a message that they may not go and walk into church to hear. You got
Mhm.
to really, if you don't mind me saying so, it seems like you've got a really good grip on the redemption story of Jesus. That you understand what's like for someone to be broken and be redeemed and restored. And I pray you can keep telling stories like that. Is it the
Thank you.
gospel thread that keeps driving you? Because, I mean, it's not easy to keep doing books. Like, is it the gospel thread? What is
Mhm.
it?
So every time I start a new book and throughout, my prayer is, God, give me the story you want me to tell and don't let me get in the way of it.
Mm,
And I thought, and I will be honest with you, probably about halfway, midway of, I've only been doing this 12 years, so I know this sounds dramatic, but about midway through, I was struggling with it. I couldn't find an agent, a publisher. I was trying to do it on my own, and I was ready to give up or start writing just secular books. Take take my faith out of it,
mm,
and it just out, and then I'm like, and it was funny enough because I had made the decision. I'm like, this is not working. I'm going to do it this way. And my sales tanked. And then all of a sudden I took a step back. I'm like, oh, okay, God. So you're telling me something that, this is it's not just writing books. This, I feel like, is part of my ministry.
yeah.
And I was taking it for granted. So there was a line in this a spot in my journey in the road, and I'm like, I had to decide, was this going to be my ministry, or was I trying to do this for the wrong reasons, like fame and
Yeah.
book sales and whatnot. And then when I gave it back over to God, wasn't too long after that, I signed with an agent, publisher, and then Under the Magnolias just blew up.
Yeah.
It's all God. And I feel like I needed that struggle to remind me where my place was, and that's behind God, God first. I was trying to get ahead of Him. And so I'm always, God, give me the story you want me to tell. It might, the story I'm working on now is an aftermath story. It's not much of a, it's not in the line of redemption, but it's aftermath. And another thing that us as Christians struggle with, loss. And so, as long as God gives me these stories, I want to tell them. And like I said, it's not about the book sales, it's not about the awards. It's about the emails that I get. It's about the people that I meet at book events that tell me, you just told my story.
Yeah.
This is what I'm going through too. And then so many of them, like, I thought God had turned his back on me and I was doing this on my own, but through reading your story, I'm going to go back to church. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what it's about. So
Yeah.
I'll praise to God. And the whole redemption story, God laid it out. Jesus laid it out in his word in the Bible so clearly. And there's so much every time, with the Samaritan woman or the woman at the well and just all the people that he included in the story, all those redemption, even King David, he continuously messed up, but then God redeemed him. And so, and he was a good one because so the state motto for South Carolina is "While I breathe, I hope." And so I ran that through the entire story. And the Bible shows us through these broken people, while they still breathe, there was still hope for God to redeem them. And so, same thing for us, right?
Now that that moment in the road happened, do you ever get tempted to start thinking like you were before that, or is that dealt with now?
It's dealt with now.
Oh, praise God.
Yeah, you'll see a fellow author will have a book released and they'll get it's this little orange strip on Amazon that says number one bestseller in their category. And used to it bothered me because my book may not get that. But nowadays I don't want a real quick, fast. All of a sudden, the book comes out and there's a big 1 day sale where everybody gets the book and I'm a bestseller. I just would My prayer is God just keeps putting them in people's hands along and along when
Yeah.
they need it. I don't want the story to just. I like when I want God to put my story in people's hands when they need it, and so I don't know. I don't know what God's got and what His intentions are with my books, but I want Him to do it, and it might be um, slow sales. It might not. It may only be I might write a book for just one person,
Mm.
but I to the point where that's what matters. And if it changes someone's life, I think that's much more important than a sale.
Yeah.
And so I've dealt with that. I dealt with it because I felt like, and it wasn't, and it, there was a lot of selfishness when I was at that part in my journey because I wanted to be the successful author, and it was all about what I wanted, and so I had to remember. And I think we all probably get to that point with different things, like whether our careers or with our children, what we want, what we consider success or whatnot. But man, we can make a mess if we get ahead of God.
Yeah.
And I feel, I think about, I wonder how close I came to completely derailing my writing career by turning my going in a different direction
Yeah.
that was not the direction I should have been in. So I just thank God that He's kept me on this path, and like how I feel like it's relatable that I did come to a point where I questioned what I was doing, and people do that,
Yeah.
and we just have to keep praying and have the faith that God's going to put us where He needs us to be, even
Yeah.
if we stumble.
I love that, Tonya. It's actually ministering to me because through this week I've been a little bit like, when you're asking the questions around the podcast, I would be like, okay, how do we go to the next level? And you can read a million blogs, you can follow 1,000 coaches and whatever else. But I got to a similar place where I'm like, God, can you just do your thing, man? Because what do we know? Like, you know what I mean? And I know that's
Mhm.
different to book sales, but that principle where we've got to,
It's the same though.
well, yeah, we've got to trust God with our future and the things that He's put us, to put our hands to. And I think that's
Mhm.
exciting. Hey, I read some of your reviews on I'm pretty sure it was the Tyndale website. So it wasn't even the big one, like it wasn't Amazon or whatever. And there's like 72. And they were all just like, this book's changed my life. This book's changed my life over and over and over and over. So, I mean, I pray if you ever get discouraged, just jump on there for 10 minutes, man. That is like some serious encouragement on there.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But and then and I'm sure you feel the same way. That's what matters, right? Is
Yeah.
we're sitting here talking or cutting up or and you might be doing a podcast, but you want people
Yeah.
to come to hear us very informal chat today,
Yeah.
but find some encouragement to get their life back on track
That's
too,
right.
and just keep doing what they're or just keep doing what they're doing, right?
Yeah. And I think that's where the gold is. Tony, it's been
Hmm.
really lovely having you. Are we allowed to get a sneak peek about what's next? You said it is a
Yeah.
not a restoration story. What was it? A post grief story?
Aftermath.
Oh yeah, an
Yeah,
aftermath.
aftermath.
So what does
Yeah.
that
So
mean?
okay, so is the title of the book is A Southern Goodbye. Do you happen
Oh,
to know what that is?
I
A
don't know what a
Southern
Southern
Goodbye.
goodbye is. No.
Oh my gosh, Dave. So in the South, us country folk, we do this thing where okay, it's time for us to go. Like if you're visiting someone, you say, okay, it's time to leave, and then you keep talking.
That's
And
Jess.
then,
That's my wife. She takes
huh?
about 15 minutes to leave. Is that a Southern goodbye?
Okay, tell Jess she does Southern goodbyes.
There you
Yes,
go.
because and then you might make it to the door and you talk a while. Then you get to the
Yes.
porch and you're still talking. Yeah, so it's a very long, drawn out
Ah.
goodbye. And so the base of the story is three people lose one person, the same person, and it's their journey, their grief journey, and how they deal with their loss differently.
Ah.
And so it's going to show different facets of grief, and that not everybody grieves the same way. And but these three people, they really don't like each other. The only thing they had in common was who they lost. But through their grief and that journey, they come together, and it's kind of like a found family
That's
near the
cool.
come to the end. So yeah. Hmm.
That'd be awesome. It'd be a different flavor to the last couple, so I'm interested. And
Hmm.
for all your existing books, are you happy with Amazon for people to go get that? I want them to go get South of Somewhere,
Yeah.
which is the latest one.
Hmm.
Amazon's your favorite. And then you can get Audible. I did that and it's really good if you're listening. And there's also your regular Kindle and also paperback too.
Yeah, if you like hardcovers, they have hardcovers too. Um, and like Books a Million, Barnes and Noble,
Cool.
Amazon, Tyndall, you can go straight to Tyndall
Yeah,
and
nice.
order Tyndall House Publishers. So yeah, anywhere books are sold.
Yeah, awesome. I recommend you do that. T.I. Lowe, Tonya Lowe, it is unfortunately the end of our chat.
We're
We'll
gonna
be
do it. Are we gonna do a Southern goodbye?
there. We'll do one after we hang up. We'll
we
hang out for
we
the next couple
we'll
of
keep
hours.
talking, right?
I cannot believe you've finally explained what Jess does. I just want to smoke bomb. I
Yeah,
want to
tell
just go now. But she just takes all
yeah.
day. So
Tell she should be living in the South.
I'd come to the south. I mean, if I could go and steal somebody's house on Sullivan's Island, I would. Those things were
Oh, me too.
ridiculous. Weren't they nice?
Hmm. We went several times so I could do book research, so to speak.
Yes.
I mean, it was terrible, Dave. I had to go to the beach. I had to go to the restaurants. I had to go shopping. I mean, it was just awful
I
research. But
bet.
yeah, I did it for the book. I did it for the book.
I love that. Oh, thank you, Tanya. Sunburnt Souls is always blessed to have you. And
Yeah, it was
yeah,
nice to
we
be here.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. So, would you want me to pray now?
I would love that.
All right, let's pray. Dear Lord, we thank you so very much for allowing me and Dave to come together and to
Yeah.
have this chat. We thank you, dear Lord, for our platforms. Even though they may be smaller consider compared to others, you can do great things through them, and I
Mm,
know that you will. I pray that you would bless Dave and Jess and his family and his ministry as he moves and does as you would have him do, and just continue to bless us and guide us. Thank you, dear Lord, for all that you do. In Jesus'
yeah.
name I pray. Amen.
Amen.